welcome back. Today is going to be quite a busy day. It's early in the morning now. It's just gone, what has it gone? 9:15. I have everything done. I have all my cattle fed and most of everything done for the day. I kind of had it organised over the weekend that I would have a few hours to spare today just to get a few things done that was kind of niggling on my mind to get done this long time. Just a few repairs. I'm on my way now at the minute to pick up a few bits and pieces of parts in Lakeland Machinery in Castleblaney. So that's where I'm just heading now. But we are in a level 5 lockdown, so I'm hoping that I'm not going to get held back too much and we get home on time and get a good start. I should get a lot of these things fixed today because I'm quite a busy week kind of planned. Our silage bit's going to be probably opened towards the end of the week, and then we'll maybe have cattle going in. We're not sure yet. We'll just see how the weather holds up, but at the minute it's pouring. It seems to be pouring all the time. A lot of rain has fallen, so ground is just an absolute mess. Okay, let's get these parts. Get rid of that for starters. Hopefully these will work. They're slightly different than the ones I have. It's just going to be hit and miss, but it came directly from Malone, so we'll see. Alright, so here's the problem. As you can see, I was a little bit too lever happy with this one and it broke off. It just completely sheared off, but if you look closely, I don't know if you can pick it up in the camera or not, but it's not a complete clean break. It has actually been breaking its way off over a period of time. There's definitely a lot of corrosion there too, so look, it's just one of those things. So we have two new levers, one of which is just a lever on its own. As you can see, it's shorter. I could not get any longer levers than that. Doesn't really matter. These levers, to be honest with you, are probably a little bit too long in the beginning. These came directly from Malone. I got them through Lakeland Machinery. As you've seen there, I was picking them up. Probably what I'll end up is doing is I should have actually took 3 levers the same, because there are 2 here to replace. Had to replace this actual by here too. If you see, there's a lot of wear on this one. I've removed the rubber, but there's a lot of wear back and forth on this one. The other one's nice and tight, and this one's okay as well. This one has a super amount of wear on it, so we're going to remove that one. We're going to put on this and hopefully it'll fit. It is again different, slightly different, so we're just hoping that it'll work. Otherwise it's quite a straightforward thing. If everything fits, shouldn't be any real problem with fitting it. But rather than having one big long one and 2 short ones, I'll probably end up replacing all 3. So I'll probably get another one of these when I'm back over there. I have to actually go back over there this evening. I'm over that direction, so I might just pick one up when I'm there. But for now, we'll get these 2 fixed. Also, you can see this is quite loose as well, so not this is fine, but the actual chest valve itself sits on that frame. There's movement there as well, so them 2 little 10mm bolts just need to be probably replaced. They're probably worn. I don't have any of that length, but what I'll do is I'll take one off and take it away to a local co-op. I'll get 2 brand new bolts for it and just tighten everything up and just leave it ready for post driving whenever that starts again. I can't wait for winter to be over already. Sprayed it with WD-40 a couple of times just to help loosen it up yesterday and the day before. So I'm expecting it to have penetrated into it rightly now. Yeah, so it's hard to beat just putting a little bit of WD-40 into it and getting the thing kind of moving. So this one here is the first one we're going to be taking off. This is the only one we need to change the lever is all. So we need to get a pair of vice grips onto this here and try to get that piece off. It's moving, which is good. The WD-40 has done its job. That's that out. Lovely. Well, if it all goes as smooth as that, we'll be sucking diesel, but I just have a feeling it won't. There's 2 Allen keys there now. We'll get them removed and see, hopefully, that this one will fit. There we are. Corrosion in there, definitely a lot of corrosion in there. So this is a little kind of a piston that comes out. I have to clean that now off, but there's a hole there in the centre. It's just kind of full of gunk and stuff at the minute. You put this back in its place and then the lever action back and forth will pull that piston in and out, and that is basically what controls your oil flow that's going to that item. And it's ready to go on. So will it fit? That's the thing. I think we're on there. We'll just tighten that up and see what it does. It's looking good. That is super. That is running really well there now. They're actually better shorter than these long ones. These long ones here are too tight at the top, and you want to put your hand, you ought to always hold it by the side because your hand will be hitting the top of the guard here. I'd rather them shorter the way they are. So I got a new one to fit this here, but it fitted like a dream. Very easy to install. It's super when things are easy like that. Next job is the yard scraper. It needs a change of oil, but it also needs a new rubber. It has a fault as well as a cord. We're not going to be able to fix it today because I'm waiting on a part to come, but the clutch cable, which controls the drive unit here, has completely snapped off, so I haven't been able to use it for the past couple of days. I've one ordered in Clark's and I'm just waiting for it to come. It's probably because of COVID and things is just taking a little bit longer to come, but I'm hoping today is Tuesday, I might get it tomorrow. I doubt I'll have it in time to add to this video. What we can do is we can get this thing cleaned off and get a new rubber on it and replace the oil in it. As I say, I replace the oil every 6 weeks or so on this machine. It only holds a very small amount, but for some reason you always get a little bit of condensation gets in there. I don't know why. It's bizarre. It's like that since the day I bought it. The oil turns kind of a creamy white, which if you had a car you'd say a head gasket was gone. Here it's a sealed unit. There's nowhere really for water to get in. It's inside all the time. I just don't know how water is getting into it, but it is. Run it for a couple of minutes, just let the oil get nice and warm, and then we dump the oil out of it and replace the oil. To get the oil out, just tilt it over. Simple. Pan the other side, catch all the run oil. I put all that into a barrel. Any of the run oil that I have for my tractors or any machinery that I service all goes into a barrel, a couple of barrels that I have, and then it gets painted onto posts, fences and things like that, just for a bit of treatment. Get this oil out of it. Put a bit of plumber's tape on this. This is the fella I was talking about, the screws down into the engine. But I did find something that could be causing the whole problem from day one. And mind you, this was over a few times in the garage. We looked at it and nobody could figure out where the condensation was getting in. But there's a little guy that fits in here that's supposed to clamp around this nut. So when you pull out the dipstick, which goes in here, when you screw the dipstick, this part here doesn't screw with it. It's like a little steel plate with two guards that comes up and kind of holds it like that. That guard doesn't create a seal around here because that part there is chamfered, so it's obviously chamfered so an O-ring can fit down and seal it. The piece that was sitting was just a flat plate on top of it. There was completely no seal, and that part itself was loose, and it was providing no addition whatsoever because that piece would always screw out with the dipstick if you didn't hold it with a wrench. So I've removed it completely. There is an O-ring on this. I've replaced it. Could it be that simple? Time will tell. So it's just gone 11:30. I'm going in for a cup of coffee. What I'm going to do first is these bolts here, I'll be removing them when I come back up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray a wee bit of WD-40 on them just to loosen them up because they are quite rusty and I haven't been taken off since this machine was new. And when I'm in for the few minutes, get my coffee, that'll loosen them out hopefully and leave them much easier to take off. They shouldn't be hard to take off anyway. Another thing I noticed here is this is supposed to swivel. It swivels up and down, just allows the contour of the yard up and down, but this backward and forward movement here shouldn't really be there. That's supposed to be just able to be adjusted so you can have it at a slight angle So you can actually loosen this and have your scraper at either kind of angles if you want to scrape that way, whatever suits. I have mine just set up that it just scrapes straight. That's all I need. But there is a bit of play on that bolt. There's obviously a wee bit of wear on that bolt, and to be honest with you can't really tighten it. I'm better off just taking that 10mm bolt out and put a new bolt in, just to solid the whole thing up. Move as much now. Nice and solid. The only movement now we'll have is that tilting, which is good. Otherwise we have the clutch cable taken off now. Hopefully we'll have that part in a couple of days. Here's the old cable here now, completely seized, completely rotten. So just before we do continue on to the next job, I just want to know the kind of tools and things that I use. I use a lot of DeWalt stuff. You'll probably see that in my other videos. Battery fits in all my XR bodies that I have, quite a few of them, but very, very, very handy. This is the recent edition here. I bought that about 3 months ago, I suppose, and it has been super. Just a super bit of kit to have. A good quality socket set as well, never goes to waste. If you're interested in any of this stuff or want to look at the price of the stuff that I use, I'll put links to all the tools and equipment we're using in the description of this video below if you want to go and check them out and see what you think. But yeah, it's hard to beat having good equipment, and it makes life a lot easier when you're doing these kind of jobs. These lights here, you see up here on the machinery shed, are very poor. The lights I put up but 10, maybe more than 10 years ago. Yes, they're a bit dirty, but really and truly them bulk headlights with probably a 100-watt bulb in them just aren't, they're just not sufficient enough for a machinery shed. When you're working in here at night, it's very dim and it's just not good enough. You're always taking a flash lamp out and you're trying to get a little bit of extra lights. So I was away yesterday and I invested in a set of new LED lights. You might wonder what the straps are. The straps are actually to tie down this roof whenever there's storms. We just leave them up, don't bother taking them down, because there seems to be that many storms now that we're always having to tie down the roof just to be safe. Because about 15-20 years ago, portion of this roof is new. I put on up until the halfway point there. You might see the difference in the colour of the timber, new compared to the older rafter over there. But what happened is the roof just completely lifted off in a storm once in Stephen's night and landed on top of the hill. It just got under it, and the air wasn't just able to go out quick enough out the back, and hence the reason that we lost the roof. But now when I know there's a storm coming or any kind of major wind, it just takes me a few minutes now. I just leave the straps on. I don't bother taking them off. They're not really causing any issue, and I just tie them down to the tractor, park the tractor across the front and tie them down to the tractor, and that's it. No problem with the roof. Thankfully it doesn't happen too often. Now get the ladder up here and we have the power disconnected, and I'm going to take down these two lights here first, and then we're going to get these LED lights up in their place and get them wired. I had actually battered off the beam. There's no way these were going to open. They're just completely corroded, so going to the dump anyway, so it means nothing to me to batter it off. As you can see, they were a very popular light back in the day, but now these LED lights are really just out on their own. So that's that one gone. We get the new one up. So you can see there the normal bulb that you would have had has now been replaced with two LED strips, which in theory should last a lot longer. I'm hoping they will, but definitely one thing for sure is they'll give it an awful lot more light. So the next thing to do is get this up onto the roof. So this guy here, he's called Glan, and he fits into the side of the light. So this goes in here, that goes onto the back, screws the whole lot closed, then you tighten this on the wire, and that just stops any water from getting in. Okay, that's the LED strip in place. If you notice there, I actually wired it first. That way I don't have to try to hold it and run the wires into place behind the LEDs. It's just a wee bit easier when you're on your own doing it and when it's slightly in an awkward position. Now I have to put the clips up onto the backing plate to hold the protective lens in place. That's the first one up. Let's turn her on. Oh man, the difference in that is crazy. I think when you compare, look at that there, and you look at that there, there's no comparison. That is super. That light is super. Yes, they're expensive, about 80 quid or so, but worth it. And we do a lot of work at night and things, and you cannot beat having enough light. So that's one up. Get the next one up, and then tonight we'll do a little bit of a sample to show you what it's like when it's lit up. I should have really done one with the other two lights on, but you know something, just take my word for it. They were really rubbish, and hopefully now tonight when this is all lit up, it's going to look so much better. So I'm just done milking, and I said I'd give you an update on how the lights have turned out. Voila. Super. Now the camera's not going to show them great, and probably there'll be a bit of a flicker. That's just the frames per second been different. They're absolutely great. I'm so happy with them. Loads of light. Definitely a good investment. So today I filmed only up to lunchtime. We got a load of other maintenance work done, engine work and things like that done after lunch. But I haven't looked at all the footage that I've taken. It just would run into a very long video, or I'd have to start chopping out some bits that probably you would like to see. I've already chopped this video down fairly well as it is. I like to keep my videos under 15 minutes if at all possible. I know a lot of you like the longer videos. The average watch time is around about 10 minutes. So if I was watching a YouTube video, that's a kind of what I'd watch myself. So I'm trying to keep them not too long. So what I'm going to do is we're going to split this up into two. So you'll see the work that was done after lunch. We have big news also coming up, possibly a new build. Not possibly, there will be a new build. We're going to be digging out a site probably in the coming weeks. We hope to get it done for Christmas, but we'll talk further at the end of the next video about that. I hope to have the next part of this video out either Friday or Sunday. We'll see how it pans out, but I'm hoping to have it out. Let's see how Friday goes. If we can get there, we'll get there. If not, we'll push it into Sunday. Folks, thanks very much for watching. If you haven't hit that sub button, now's the time to hit it. Give us a like if you like what you see. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all's in the description below. Until the next one, folks, as always, take care, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.